Jeffrey Richards called me, or I probably called my agent first, and they called me and said that they were interested in me playing the role of Ricky Roma in Glengarry Glen, which I never would have imagined happening, but it did. And I asked, and he said yes, they did really want me to do it. And I heard that Joe Montello was directing, who's somebody that I wanted for a very long time to work with, and I said yes immediately.
So when you said you didn't think you'd be playing this role, talk about this role. What did you think you were going to be able to play about him?
I don't know that it wasn't anything specific about the character that I didn't think that I would play him. It was I think Glengarry was one of the first shows on Broadway that I ever saw. I was separated from my father when I was a very small child, and we started having these visits with each other as I became a teenager, and one of those visits consisted of him coming to New York and taking me to 3 plays, and he took me to see Fences, Night Mother, and Glengarry Glen. And I loved them all, but I think Glengarry Glen sort of left a lasting impression on me. I just remember thinking it was hilariously funny, and then suddenly this like stiff punch in the stomach. And I remembered this guy who I didn't know who he was, named Joe Mantegna, and I just thought he was fabulous. And at that time I wasn't thinking about acting really, but he kept bouncing around in my head over and over again. So it was kind of ironic and strange to me, after having, worked in the business for a while and done some plays and done some films, to get that call to say, do you want to do this play? And what's more, do you want to play his role? And I thought, yeah, absolutely.
So talk about the man. Talk about his journey and who he is.
Ricky starts at the top, which is a dangerous place to start anything. Granted, you're catching us here 4 hours after our first rehearsal, so all we've really done is read the play, so anything I say now would be premature. But what I am sort of most intrigued by, I watched a documentary film by the Maisels brothers called The Salesman, and I'm very interested in this community. I don't know if that's where we're going with this play, but I was very interested at the sort of close-knit nature of this community of salesmen and the sort of desperation of their situations and how they react to that emotionally with each other and on their own. Ricky right now is the mark for the most successful guy in the shop, which in many respects, to me, makes him a mark, makes him a dangerous mark. It's a fast-moving business, and it's a dangerous business, and the guy who's raking it all in today could be panhandling on the street tomorrow, and that's part of the nature of what's so exciting about the play, what's interesting about the characters.